I had no idea the British press was so bigoted.
This one's wife. We have not been intimate in months. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. When an individual is in an intimate relationship with a narcissist, sex plays a big part of it. This is because sex is a major weapon of seduction that is utilized by the narcissist. I talk about how narcissists have cadres and subschools. In essence, subschools help you understand more about the behavior of the narcissist, and cadres about preferences. That's a rudimentary way of describing it, but it's essentially accurate. There are 4 cadres: victim, somatic, cerebral, and elite. Elite being an amalgam of both somatic and cerebral. This one's wife is a somatic narcissist. This means appearances, material things matter to her. There are different aspects of somaticism. So, for instance, you might have a somatic narcissist who isn't particularly good looking but thinks that they are, that's heavily motivated by sex and money, by being seen in the right places, by having a very physically attractive partner, for instance. With this one's wife as a somatic narcissist, and also elite narcissists, sex is invariably used. Cerebral and victim narcissists will use sex also, but in a differing way. It is often the case, although not always the case, that the somatic narcissist will provide you with a lot of sex, and is often as a consequence of the fact that they tend to have had a lot of sex in their lives, and they tend not to recognize boundaries, that the sex is both plentiful, varied, and often very good indeed. This proves to be particularly intoxicating to the victim. Not only invariably does the victim bundle together sex and romance and love and intimacy so that they feel that this person is really into them, although they don't realize that what's actually happening is that the narcissist is simply masturbating with their body. They, with the copious application of sex, not only get to feel good because of all of the delightful sensations the sex generates, but they believe, honestly but actually mistakenly, that the person, who at this juncture they don't know is a narcissist, is really, really into them. After all, if they're wanting to knock their hip out so often, they clearly are very much in love with them and want to spend so much time with them. The provision of this great sex and the intimacy that's associated with it does indeed prove intoxicating, and it's used by the narcissist as one of the most common ways to assert control over the victim and to draw fuel by virtue of the oohs and the ahs and ooh, just there and give it to me, baby, aha, aha. The narcissist will regularly use sex and do so during seduction, and then, during the sustained devaluation, sex is withdrawn. This is because it's an excellent way of devaluing the victim. It takes away something they very much enjoyed. The narcissist only enjoyed it to the extent that it was useful to them. And because the person is now painted black, the narcissism deems that it is appropriate to deprive them of that thing that they enjoyed. Because not only does it remove the pleasurable aspect of sex, it strikes at the concept of loving somebody, because no longer wanting to get intimate with them causes them to question, are they being loved any longer? As you know from my work, you are never loved by a narcissist, because the narcissist is incapable of love, having no emotional empathy. It is common, therefore, for a victim of a narcissist, when entering the sustained devaluation, to find that the sexy time dries up. And I've explained that in relation to Randy Harry, that he will have found himself deprived of intimacy, that he would make approaches to try and get some and be rebuffed, because it's a method of controlling him. Giving it him controls him, taking it away from it controls him. It irks him, it prompts a negative response, thus the negative fuel flows. He's devalued by sexual withdrawal, which is a common manipulation. Thus, this is something that repeatedly occurs, particularly when you have a somatic narcissist such as this one's wife. And for someone that evidently has a high libido, like the Randy ginger bugger that is Harry, after all, palace staff have said as such, it hits particularly hard, or maybe not so hard after all, given the fact that he's not getting any. And interestingly, this state of affairs has been confirmed by a spot of gossip that's out there on X. A provider known as Queer Lips of Truth 2 revealed in an X post, "Gist revealed to me from a snitch buried deep within Sussex camp. The humiliation was unbelievable, and a drunk Prince Harry was heard telling Michael Bublé that he didn't understand why this one's wife was suddenly very handsy with him in public after she had been very mean to him in private. We haven't been intimate in months. Both parties have now agreed that the focus must be on the Invictus Games veterans, and this one's wife must return home." Whether Queer Lips of Truth has a snitch buried deep within the Sussex camp or not, I don't know. They may well have done. Or it might be that this is someone that does understand the way that a narcissist behaves and therefore has furnished a piece of gossip around the dynamic that takes place, utilising recent events. Or, as I say, it may be entirely accurate. What I would say is that if this has come from a snitch, it is not a surprise because of the state at which Harry and this one's wife are in the dynamic. He's in the sustained devaluation, which is punctuated by respite periods. Harry, if this piece is to be believed, clearly doesn't grasp that his wife is a narcissist, because he would then be able to understand why she's mean to him in private and why she's handsy with him in public. The fact is, she's mean to him in private because he's in the sustained devaluation, and that's a means of controlling him as he's painted black. It also means it doesn't damage her facade. When she's seen in public, she's handsy with him by giving him the respite period, but also makes her look good. It portrays her as a kind, loving wife, and that they have an idyllic marriage, which suits the facade that she wants to project to the public as a whole. Hence, you get this black and white response. Black in private, white in public. The complaint that they haven't been intimate in months could well be legitimate, because that's often the case with the narcissist that's devaluing their victim, that sex is taken off the agenda. It's withdrawn. In some instances, the narcissist might still continue to have sex, but does so in an unloving, brutal, harsh way. And in other instances, it's just taken away, which the victim finds dismaying and hurtful. There's also the suggestion that the reason she is going is that she has been sent home, something which I touched on in an earlier video, and something that I concur with. As ever, you can make your own mind up as to the legitimacy of what has been posted here. It might come from some genuine disclosure from a snitch, or it might just be the formulation of what is likely to be the case without actually having the actual knowledge of it. But either way, it provides me with an opportunity to explain what it is that Harry is likely to be experiencing, and to explain to you why it is likely that she is mean to him privately and then all handsy and nice to him in public, because it's just another part of the narcissistic dynamic. As I've told you so many times before, if you're left asking, why does she do this? What's going on? Why is she behaving this way? The answer is a simple one. It's because she's a narcissist. Yes, there's more to break down in relation to the dynamic and the pursuit of the prime aims and the reactions to threats to control and so on and so forth. But time and time again, I see people asking, why is she doing this? What's all that about? And the answer is, it's her narcissism, each and every time. There's nothing else behind it. That's what's going on. And it would appear that either Queer Lips of Truth understands narcissism and has created this around how Harry's likely to be treated, or it is actually based on actual evidence that has been provided. As I say, you can make your own mind up, but either way, what's been written there will be accurate with regard to what Harry's experiencing. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.